I want to talk about, trans issues and JK Rowling. And somebody asked me to talk about this. I didn't want to talk about this. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's been played out. Um, and then it happens at a really interesting time, right as the Supreme Court case um, about LGBT issues was ruled on. Um, but they actually tie together quite well. So you'll see at the end how I kind of tie these two together. It's pretty interesting, right? And so, those of you that don't know, J.K. Rowling has been in hot water with trans activists. I mean, in the last couple weeks, but she's been in hot water for quite a while now with trans activists for believing in biological sex, for speaking on biological sex. Um, and for that, she has been called a TERF, a transphobe, and so much more. She even garnered a response from MMA fighter Fallon Fox, who, if you don't know who Fallon Fox is, so she's a fighter, and she's a trans woman fighter and mixed martial arts. She broke one woman's skull, and she sent two others to the hospital while she was in the ring. Now, again, she's biologically male. She went through male puberty. She has advantages for that. She even bragged on Twitter this week when people challenged her to get the story straight, and she said she loved beating up women. That is who you are dealing with when you're dealing with Fallon Fox. Now, if you don't know, I responded as well to Fallon. And here's the tweet. Okay. She blocked me immediately. Like, immediately. She blocked me. Because she can't argue her point against another trans woman. She has to call other people TERFs and everything like else. And not even just another trans woman. I wrestled for 18 years. I did Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, Army combatives. I was in the Army for 7.5 years. I was a pretty good fighter. I've had my nose broken like 5 times. So I've been hit. I've been in fights. I would love to step in the ring and fight her, even though she's probably about 10 pounds heavier than me. If I was cutting weight, I wouldn't even have to cut to make her weight class. I would love to get in the ring and fight, to show her that, we have a biological advantage. We do. I would never step in the ring with a biological female. When I was wrestling and even doing jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, I've never lost to a female. So it would be really shitty of me, even though I have lost strength, I have lost some of that advantage. I haven't lost it all. It would be an awful thing to do, because I know it's completely unfair. Let's get back to Rowling, J.K. Rowling. So let's look at her recent foray, shall we? She responded to an article about the effects of COVID on people who menstruate. She took that because it's a medical term and said you could also just say women. I don't see what's wrong with that. As basically, because only biological women menstruate. Not all do. So there's kind of the thing that only biological women do, but not all of them do. A lot of people said that was a transphobic statement because she left out and didn't include non-binary people and trans men. Well, here's the thing. You have to acknowledge biological sex, especially in medical terms. When you're talking medical community, you have to talk biological sex. Even very well known trans activist who's been around forever, Buck Angel, trans man who, I mean, he gets heat too, but he paved the way for trans people. He really did. He was one of the first. He was one of the first fighting. He paved the way, and now he's getting called all sorts of names because he supports biological sex, like by all these young kids who don't even know what he did for the community. And he's a biological female, but he's a trans man, and he is now standing up and supporting JK Rowling. I think that is a big thing. Now, before I get the comments and the people in the comment section that's saying nobody is saying that biological sex doesn't exist, well, you're wrong, because I can show you 1,000 tweets where people are saying that biological sex is non-existent or it's fluid. Honestly, go to Reddit, you'll see everything. There's so much on that page that is so wrong. All the trans pages, I think I've mentioned it before, they don't let me comment anymore because they don't like me. Because they deny biological sex. But going back to the point I made about Candace Owens, it's about the left. It's crazy because me, as a trans woman, have been called so many names. I've been called a TERF. Well, I'm not a radical feminist, so that doesn't really make sense. I believe we should be making TERF mean something new, right? I like Ariel's use of it, which is trans embracing rational feminist. So if that's the case, then yeah, okay, I'm a TERF because I love trans people. I support, but I'm rational. I've been called a trans traitor. I've been called a transphobe. And guess what? By cis men. Because I've stood up for JK Rowling. Tell me how that even completely meets the logic. You tell somebody like Ariel Scarcella she can't talk about trans women invading, and it's because it's a woman's issue, it's not a trans woman issue. But you tell Ariel she can't talk about it because she's not trans. But then a cis man can tell me, that I'm a transphobe, can tell me to sit down? I don't think so. That doesn't meet even the logic that they're talking about. So again, unless you meet the standards and you are a groupthink person with the left, so now I want to talk about why that is so interesting with the latest Supreme Court ruling, right? So, if you haven't heard, on Monday, the Supreme Court ruled that LGBT people can't be fired because they are LGBT. It was a huge day. It was a big day for a lot of people, including me. I think it was the right decision made. It's interesting because it was only in the news for one day. And here's why. So, Trump's pick for the Supreme Court Justice, Gorsuch, was the one that wrote the majority opinion. That, for one, is going to be... It's going to be hard for activists to celebrate that. And second, the determination was based on biological sex. Okay? And here's how. So the Supreme Court wrote that a company cannot fire a man for having a husband because they would never do that if a woman has a husband. right? They also said if a biological man or trans woman wears a dress or any outfit that is appropriate under the women's dress code, then that is also discriminating based on the person's sex. So after the ruling, it dropped from the news. Because then, as I was explaining before, the left in the mainstream media would have to come out and say, they basically have to celebrate that sex, biological sex, exists. So they hid the story. In my opinion, they hid the story because biological sex was the determining factor for their own protections. I will also note that the dissent was not because of LGBT issues. Those justices don't hate the issues, the LGBT community either. In fact, Trump's other nominee, Justice Kavanaugh, said as much in his in the dissenting opinion that he wrote. And it says, and I read, "The best way for us judges to demonstrate that we are deciding cases based on the original meaning of the law is to walk the walk, even in the hard cases when we might prefer a different policy outcome." Meaning, he agreed with the decision, but it's not. He didn't agree that it was the place of the court to make the law say what they want. I think both sides have valid points. Obviously, I'm happy with what happened. Overall, as a total body, I've been pretty happy with the justices that President Trump has picked. He seems to have picked actually pretty libertarian, constitutionalist justices, which is great. And I think I think that's Supreme Court justices need to be apolitical. They need to be people that, even when their own politics disagree, their own opinions disagree, they can look at the Constitution and know what it's saying. And I absolutely believe that both of them have gone against Trump on a few issues. I think neither one of them seems to be playing for just conservatives. It really is not. So I think I'm pretty happy with the two justices so far. With all that said, though, again, thanks for watching. I can't wait. I'm going to be doing some more videos again here soon. This week I have going with my friend Wendy. But come on now. We need to stop this nonsense. I want to be bringing you guys uplifting videos. I don't want to be down here in the weeds talking about all the issues of the day. I don't want to be that person. I want to have good conversations with everybody. I want to get back to making content that is, uplifting, informative. But right now, this is what's been on my mind. I've been in kind of a artistic rut, even with my music and everything. I did think I played a pretty good set last week, but and my DJing stuff, but it's hard. It's hard times right now. Send me good things. Send me good things to talk about, because I want to talk about good things, okay? And please, if you like my channel, subscribe, leave comments, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, check out my business line. I'm in talks with some pretty popular people to have as guests. And I hope that, we can make that happen, and some of these people can make the time because they are all very busy people. And I can make this informative channel for everybody that's not just talking about politics, that's not just talking about trans issues, but a lot of, important issues, but we can make this channel fun. Okay? I appreciate you all. Like, subscribe. Thank you.